And welcome to everyone. I see a lot of very familiar faces and names, which is always really nice. Thanks so much for asking me to do this. I'm really chuffed that you asked me to do this interview with Rhona today. And I almost feel like in this company, Rhona almost needs no introduction, but I'm just going to go for it anyway, a little bit of one. Rhona Coughlan is, as you know, a pioneering inclusive dance artist in Ireland and currently the course director for Inclusive Dance Cork. And we had a chat earlier today, and I'm really looking forward to hear some of the stories that Rhona has to tell about her journey, really, in inclusive dance, where she started, and bringing it all the way up to the present, what Rhona is working on right now. So, hello, Rhona. How's it going?
Hey, Cindy, how's it going?
Very good, very good. Listen, I
This is
suppose
strange, but fun,
I know.
but lovely.
Um, I suppose if we just start at the very beginning, as the song says, and if you can just give us an idea of a little bit of background. You're from Cork, obviously, and you can take it from there.
Yeah, I'm from Cork, born and bred. I'm one of eight. I have seven brothers and sisters. I am the youngest. Come from family business. All my family are very outgoing and friendly and quite gregarious and good with people in entertainment, as are my parents. Bless them, both were very, very much, and very passionate about entertainment and supporting people, and with a really, really strong work ethic as well. So went to mainstream school. Had a tiny little interlude where I went to special education school for about a year and a half, 2 years, and that was an interesting experience. And so I did all the usual things, went through school and then college, and did many different qualifications in college,
Mm.
whether it be counselling and coaching or video production and PR and that kind of thing. Interestingly enough, I don't have a formal qualification in dance. I have
Mm.
it in all other areas of my work, but I don't have a formal qualification.
Mhm. Yeah, I meant to say in the introduction that Rhona is a person who wears a cap with many feathers in it, for sure. And we'll get to hear about all of those different things that you've been involved in. I believe a very early influence in terms of your dance and your journey through dance was a particular television show,
It was
was
a
it
very
not?
it was a very particular television show
Yeah.
in the 80s called Fame.
Mhm.
Big fan of Coco, big fan of Debbie Allen, uh, big fan of the whole show. I just really wanted to be one of the kids in Fame and go to a dance school or an art school of performing arts and dance. That's what all I ever wanted to do. And I can remember being really small and being in my sister's bedroom, and she had a beautiful photograph of a ballerina, and so I was in her bedroom with her, and I'd say I would have been about 5 or 6. And I said to my sister, I said, when I'm big, I want to be a dancer. And she said, well, she's Rhona, you can do anything you want to do. And that's pretty much the way it has always been in my family.
Mhm.
We all kind of go off, all strong, very big, strong personalities. And my parents set the tone. So they fundamentally believed that if you want to do something and you set your mind to it, you go off and do it. They're there to
Mhm.
support,
Mhm.
but you go off and do it, and they'll be there in the background all the time.
Mhm. Yeah, and and in terms of even though you didn't have a kind of a regular dance training, you had a very creative start just after school, didn't you? Didn't you do a video production course?
Yeah, I did, but I suppose before that, though, which really was a very, very, very strong catalyst for me in secondary school, just before I went to St. John's and before
Hmm.
I did video production. A dance teacher came to my school when I was 15,
Ah, okay.
And I was the only person with a disability in the school because I went to mainstream school. And she came and we did a performance and I was front and center. And then she invited all of the participants and from the class, all my classmates and myself, to join her dance school outside. So I went down to join, like some of my other classmates did. You know, some of it pick up the gauntlet and some of them didn't. And I was about 15, 16. And so I went down and I said, I really want to join the class because I'd gotten the bug, you see, of being in the performance and all that kind of good stuff. And I remember we did a performance in Father Matthew Hall. So I got a little bit of a taster of things. And of course, in school, I did plays and all that kind of thing. But this was specifically dance related. So I went down to join and she said, well, I'm really sorry, but you can't join. And it's got nothing to do with you being in a wheelchair. But I don't have the room. And I said, because I use a wheelchair and I don't have the space. I said, because I use a wheelchair and I don't have the insurance and this, that, and the other. And everything was related to my disability. And I said, do you know what now? Flip you, I'll set up my own dance company. She said, you're going to set up your own dance company? And I said, yes. And she said, how are you going to do that? You're only a child. And I said, watch me. Watch me. So I met a really, really beautiful guy called Patrick Cashman, who's one of my very, very closest friends. He's almost like my brother, really. And a very, very close friend of mine from secondary school, Denise Cronin. And then we, the three of us co-founded, or the three of us created Wheels in Motion when I was 18. But I had gotten involved with I'd gotten involved with the youth prayer group from the age of 15 to 18. And, you know, I've got a very strong faith. It's very private and personal to me. But I knew if I was in this space, we did a thing called liturgical dance. And I knew if I was in this space with these people that they were going to be A, non-judgmental, and B, I got to dance. And that's what I did. So a liturgical dance is like movement through prayer. So I really loved that. And then because I met them, because I met Patrick through this group and Denise through school, we formulated Wheels in Motion when I was 18.
And can you talk a little bit about like what was the work like? Because really there wasn't really anything going on in Ireland right at that time in terms
Well,
of inclusive dance.
well, there was Your Good Selves in Dublin.
Oh yeah, counterbalance. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like
that's counterbalance in Dublin at
yeah.
that point. But I think that was more, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that was more community-based kind of things, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So we did performances, again, contemporary dance. We did performances in the Opera House in Father Matthew Hall, and then we ran classes because Denise and Patrick were both qualified in dance, and they both went to Scoil Stefan Nefa.
Okay.
So they, to my mind, had the formalization of the training, and then, and of course, we were all eager, and we were very naive and very innocent. We were just three people who really wanted to dance and who really wanted to dance together and create opportunities for other people who may not necessarily have had the opportunity in the first place. So it was a mixture of performances and teaching dance classes as well. And so it ran for about a year and a half. And that was when I was about 18 until I was about 19 and a half, 20 maybe. Yeah. So I loved it. It was beautiful work. It was really impactful. I remember we did a performance in the Opera House. You're going to like this. We did a performance in the Opera House, and the music was from The Mission and Jurassic.
Oh wow.
And so it's epic stuff.
Yeah. Big show tunes like
Yeah, it's
orchestrated.
like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
grab you by the heart and
Yeah.
drag you around the place.
Yeah.
So we did a performance, and of course, at that point, nobody with a disability or anything inclusive was ever on stage, certainly not in Ireland at that point,
Mm.
and definitely not in the Opera House or anywhere. Not, as I say, not in Ireland. And so we did the performance and we got a standing ovation, which was
Brilliant.
incredible, which was incredible.
Yeah.
So I came out of the Opera House, and the lady whose dance program I wanted to join spotted me outside the door.
Oh, wow.
And she said, "Oh, that was amazing." I was like, "Thank you so much." And she said, "You can join my dance company now if you want to." And I said, "No, thank you. I have
I've got my own. Thanks very much.
I have my own, and I'm with my friends, and we
Yeah.
all, we all really like each other, and it's a good safe space to be in. And
Yeah, nice.
there you go.
Yeah, brilliant. And did you continue then? You said it was just a year and a half, and did you continue on with dancing, or did you go into some other kind of multimedia work as well, or?
So what happened then is Patrick and Denise carried on their dance training, and Patrick went to the States, and Denise was doing other things as well. So after about a year and a half, it faded out, and then I just didn't feel I could do it on my own. Well, it wasn't going to be inclusive anymore. It was just going to be me, and so yes, you're right. I completely changed directions then. Um, because the opportunity wouldn't have been there. So I ended up working then in television and radio, or training in that area of television and radio. Um, and I went to St. John's Central College, which is what you were going to ask me there a while ago. So I loved it. I love St. John's, and which was a great gift because, I love talking, as you know. So it just allowed me the ability and the training to work in that area then. And I love film. I've always been a big fan of film and radio, of course. So the things that have always been, I genuinely feel have been the greatest loves of my life have been dance and have been radio. Dance,
Mhm.
dance and radio. And then also community, as well. So any way I can merge my different loves together, it's always a good thing for me. So I was in St. John's for 3 years.
Mm.
Loved that. And I was working in community radio throughout that time. I'm just building my skill set. And then when I left St. John's Central College, I applied for a job in RTE, and I didn't have any luck. So I applied for a job with the BBC in Northern Ireland, and I didn't tell anybody I was going to do that. I think I was 24, 23, 24, and I applied for a job with the BBC. And the two things were with it was you had to have a disability, but you had to have a qualification in media as well.
Mm.
So I suppose it was just to give people with disabilities a platform to do that kind of work, and a door and an avenue in. So I loved it. I was up in Belfast, moved to Belfast, and I was up there for about 6 months. And it was one of the greatest experiences of my life, really. I loved it. So I ended up working in radio as a producer and as a research assistant. And I also ended up working in television as a celebrity booker and producer as well.
Oh, wow. What celebrities did you book?
Oh,
Do you
loads.
remember? Can you
Yeah,
tell?
loads. Yeah, you want me to name drop? Great.
Go on.
I think one of my two of my most favorite people that I met Roger Moore,
Oh, cool.
James Bond, Roger Moore, and
Yeah.
I would be a big James Bond fan, more then than now. I think I really liked Sean Connery and Roger Moore. So when I met him, I was backstage in the green room. I was trying to be very cool, you know. And I said, "Hello, Mr. Moore. It's a pleasure to meet you." And I said, "I just need to take a moment. I can't believe I'm meeting James Bond. Roger Moore, James Bond." And he said, "Sorry, what's your name?" I said, "Rhona Coughlan." And he went, "Sorry, a second. I just need to take a moment. I'm meeting Rhona Coughlan. I'm really excited." And I was like, "Well, how lovely is he?" And the other person who'd a really big influence me, who I met as well, and who was very helpful, was the late, great, brilliant Gay Byrne. Because he gave me an in into RTE. And I ended up doing a lot of work for RTE as well, working on different programs, working different radio programs. So one of my favorite things that I did with RTE was a program called The God Slot as a producer. So I did that as well, and worked on various different programs like Varsity, etc., etc. So
Right. Wow.
yeah, really enjoyed it. I mean, they were not consistent. They were inconsistent as things like that are. So I was doing other works as well. The same with BBC. I was with BBC for 6 months, and I used to come up and down to Cork nearly every second weekend. And of course, family and friends came up to see me too. So I kind of bounced around those kind of media things for a long, long time, and did loads of radio. So I worked for BBC, RTE, UTV, and then worked in community radio down in Youghal, and community radio stations in Cork as well. So
But dance pulled you back in. Dance
no, right?
adventure.
I
And
know. I,
from there, was that where Canduco came into your life at that point?
so what happened was nearly. So 12 years after uh, Wheels in Motion, I was thinking there's bound to be loads of inclusive dance work now, or companies or practitioners or whatever. So I contacted Dance Cork Crane, who in my mind has always been the home of inclusive dance practice. And I spoke to Dance Cork Crane. I spoke to Paul McCarthy, who was the executive director at the time, and Paul was great. And I said, is there any inclusive dance classes or workshops happening now? And he went, no, nothing. So I said, look, if you hear of anything, please come back to me and let me know. So I said, okay. So he rang me, and I kind of thought, I won't ever hear from him ever again. He was just being a nice guy. He actually was incredible, and he was a great guy.
Oh, he was lovely. I remember him very well. Years
Yeah.
of working in Dance Cork Crane, and he was just incredible as a production manager and also as the technical director. Yeah.
So he contacted me a day or two later, and he said, look, Rhona, I said I'd come back to you because this lady called Tara Brandel has called into Dance Cork Crane, and I think we were only 2 days apart, or maybe a day apart. So I mean, that's meant to be.
Wow. Yeah.
And so myself and Tara then had conversations, this is around 2005, about co-founding a second inclusive dance company. Well, second for me. And we set up Croí Glan. Yeah. And I was involved heavily in Croí Glan for 4 years as the co-director and co-founder of it. So I loved it, and I got to work with beautiful people like Emma Pafano, the very, very gorgeous Jess Curtis, Dave Bulger. Of course, we did some in-house choreography as well. And then about Canduco, then I went off and did a workshop with Canduco over in the UK, only for 5 days. But after 4 days, we got rained out of it, and we had to be evacuated.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But I know, right? Literally up a mountain, and we had to be evacuated out of the place. So we that's the time that I met some of the greatest people that I've ever known in dance. So I met the likes of Yulia Arkelian, who has Wobbly with Eric Ferguson, her husband. And then I met Jorge, and I met Mark Brew, and I met Natalie Adam, and I met loads of other incredible people. And so we were about a year and a bit into Croí Glan at this point. And we were really building up momentum, in Ireland. And they offered me work, and they offered me an opportunity to join Canduco at that time, and to audition for them and all of that. And I went, thank you so very, very much. I'm very grateful, but no thank you, because I'm interested in establishing what's going on in Ireland and keeping on what's going on in Ireland, and building the networks there. So I didn't take Canduco up on their lovely offer, but I mean, I stay connected with them, being through Adam Benjamin and other people.
Mm-hmm.
Stay in contact with everybody, because I'm kind of like that anyway. I kind of like to have a great tribe around me, and I think that's the key.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's such a great introduction to a wider community of people that continue to be your community. Like so many of the people that you've mentioned have now become part of the IDC course in
That's,
one way or another, either actually in-person workshops, facilitating in-person workshops, or through the Zoom sessions and conversations that you've had, which is brilliant, amazing. That 5 day period. And all of this history was created from it. It's cool.
and all of this happens, and it's funny
Mm,
because I did such incredible work with Croí Glan, and I really, really enjoyed the experience. I mean,
mm,
it was incredible, as much as I enjoyed Wheels in Motion, for very, very different reasons, But I was a bit more informed when I co-founded Croí Glan. But I think after the 4 years, I kind of went, well, this has been beautiful. I've had a great time, but I'm kind of curious now to go off and spread my wings and see where I'm going to go now.
mm-hmm,
And so, and just after I left Croí Glan, Adam Benjamin came over to do some work, and Patrick, who I
mm,
co-founded Wheels in Motion with, was doing some work with Croí Glan at the time, and Patrick said, "Look, Rhona, Adam Benjamin is here, so you should come up." And I always wanted to work with Adam, so then
mm,
uh, I ended up meeting Adam, and then that was a lifelong friendship as well. So
great.
you're right, I've always tried to stay really connected to the people who really, for me, elevate the conversation around dance,
Mm-hmm,
and who are really passionate about it. I
mm-hmm,
really love it about supporting the community and supporting each other, and it's for the love of the art, and it's about a real, genuine inclusion in every sense of the word, no matter who you
mm-hmm,
are, no matter who you are.
mm-hmm. And from Croí Glan, you took a little bit of a break, but then connected up with our friends in Limerick, did you not? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So our
And
friends,
just I have a question for you before you go into talking about spoken
yeah.
dance.
Mhm.
How did you find your way back into dance? I mean, that's a really difficult thing when and a lot of us have done that, where you come up at a certain point in your career and maybe something just naturally kind of ends or circumstances change radically, whatever. But how did you find your way back into dancing and then going off to Limerick?
So I think it was quite interesting because when I left Croí Glan, I learned so much from that experience. But I'd really, really hurt my body.
Mm,
So I really had to take time out. I think I spent a couple of months really healing, but I learned a lot, like physically healing from that. I was almost like the poster girl for a long time about inclusive dance, as a disabled person. So
mm,
I pushed my body to spaces and places it really couldn't go.
mm,
So it took a couple of months out to kind of go, right, let's reevaluate this. But I had known Lisa Cliff really, really well because she'd working with Croí Glan. And then I met the very gorgeous Mary Hartney as well, and Sultan also, who would have been heavily involved in spoken dance. I mean, they were spoken dance, and they had asked me to come in to watch some of their work and to give them some feedback, while I was still connected to Croí Glan. And I did, and I was friendly with all of them, and they invited me to join spoken dance. But it took my time, it took my body time to recover from that. But I had the most incredible experiences, met the best people, but also learned a lot because I'd really, really hurt myself. So I
mm,
suppose I figured out what I did want to do and what I didn't want to do. What I didn't
mhm,
want to do. And so being involved then with spoken dance was incredible. And I think I did that for about a year and a half. And we were in Limerick and we were in Galway and we were all over the place doing performances. We were in Dublin and we had an incredible time. And then in 2013, I had a really bad accident
mhm,
and I fell down a lift shaft backwards. And I've always used a wheelchair, as most people know. I have spina bifida, but this was a game changer and a life changer, and a perspective shifter in every sense. So I had to take a gigantic step back from everything then. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I had also been working while I was doing stuff with spoken dance. I'd also gotten involved in disability and disability support, working for the Centre for Independent Living. And I was kind of doing those two things at the same time. And they were like, everybody that I had surrounded myself with were just incredible people, and the kindness and support around me was immense at that time, because I was quite traumatic when I had the accident and fell down the lift shaft. So it took a bit of time around that, but I had after that, then I completely stopped dancing for the longest time.
Yeah, yeah. And so that was another moment where there was a gap. And again, finding your way back to dance is just like the dancer has been in you from the very beginning, Rhona. Like, it was eventually going to emerge out after you were able to heal from that incredibly traumatic experience of that accident.
Yeah. And I think a couple of things stood to me. First of all, my family were absolutely incredible.
Mm,
My mom was amazing. My siblings were incredible. God bless, genuinely, God bless their patience. You know, um, so and I think my own resilience is quite great. But it took time. But I had just surrounded myself as well with really, really good friends, and I loved the work that I was doing. You know, so I had really enjoyed working with spoken dance. Again, stayed connected to everybody in spoken dance,
hmm
or them, made them part of IDC, and why not? It's to me, it's just kind of common sense.
hmm
And I'm a real believer in finding your tribe. You know,
Yeah, absolutely. And part of your tribe actually exists all the way over in my part of the world where I danced and trained in Portland, Oregon.
ah,
Fabulous Yulia and Eric, and I danced with them. What was it? There's a really great improvisation festival in Seattle called Svadi. And so I think it was about 2010 that I met them somewhere like really early on, and we just had a brilliant time. And then all these years later, I'm working with you, and we suddenly make this connection that we've got these incredible people in common. It was so brilliant. So how you worked with their company Wobbly, right?
so I worked with Wobbly. I met
Mm.
Yulia in 2007, that lovely week that I met Nadia and
Yeah.
Jorge and Mark and all those fantastic people like Anduko. And we stayed very, very good friends. I mean, Yulia is one of my closest friends, as is Eric, her husband.
Mm.
And I would have gone back and forth to visit them quite a lot. So anytime I was there for the summer, um, they came to visit me in 2013, and then I started going over to them in 2014. Hmm, it took me a bit of time to work back the nerve of going back into dance. And did I still really want to do it? And was it still within me? And of course, as you noticed, it is still within me. And so from about 2015, I started doing workshops and doing some teachings and facilitation with the Mobley, and
Mhm.
absolutely loved it. Absolutely loved it. It was an incredible experience. Really, really great. And so I would go over in the summer times or whenever I just happened to go over, and they would nearly work workshops around me.
Mm.
They'd be like, "Oh, we're bringing over this international person from Ireland," and I'm like, let's not get too excited about ourselves now, shall we? You know, so it was, yeah, it was incredible. But I was again supported and surrounded by great people, so much love, so much support. So, again, great tribe, great tribe, you know.
hmm hmm And then I'm just looking at all my notes here. You made another foray. I think something that maybe a part of your history that people aren't that familiar with is your academic side, like that you actually have quite a rake of accolades, shall
Yeah.
we say, and things and different subjects that you've studied, which all have created this incredible bedrock for you to draw from in terms of now running IDC. And so, can you just talk a little bit about that? Like, and some of it happened during COVID, did it not?
Yeah, that's true. I've always had a real natural curiosity, you know.
Mm,
I've an inquiring mind. I've always been that way since I was a kid. You know, I think I came out of the womb talking and questioning and asking a billion questions. I mean, I think my family would definitely say that about me, you know. So yes, I did a master's in 2019, 2020. So yeah, just before COVID and during COVID. And it's a master's in youth work through arts and sport in UCC, the beautiful UCC. And before that, I did a degree in coaching and coaching psychology, and did a lot of personal coaching work for quite a long time. And again, that folded in with other things all the time. That's a skill set I'm always using, to be honest.
hmm
Um,
hmm
and then I had a higher diploma in counselling and psychotherapy for the back from MTU, which would have been CIT at the time. And then a higher diploma in PR and also radio broadcasting and the film video production as well.
hmm hmm
So I'm kind of one of these people that when September hits, I get a bit excited when I see perspectives, you know, college perspective, and and the brochures and everything. I'd be like, ooh, what will I do now? You know, um,
mm
but IDC has really fixed that thirst in me as well for you know, it's a beautiful gift that keeps on giving back to me in
mm.
so many ways. And something that I am contemplating doing is doing a PhD.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah.
Around, it's been something I've been thinking about for a while, but something around inclusive dance as a person with a disability myself. And so it's something that I'm starting to look into, dip my toe in and see what happens.
And I imagine a practice-based one, yeah?
At
Is that
100%.
yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. There, for me, there is no other way. It's just the way that I work, you know.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
And I then of course, you know, and that IDC has given me so many gifts then as well, you know, through academia, and because I've gotten to lecture under UCC and Cork ETB and do lots of different things as well. So I now know both sides of the coin as a student and now as a facilitator and
hmm
through UCC as well as a practitioner in that area too.
Yeah. So what question now we're segueing very neatly into the course, and how is it? Can you talk a little bit about the origins for you as the director of the course of the inclusive dance course? How did that come about?
Sure. So how I ended up becoming the artistic director of IDC of Inclusive Dance Cork is I'd heard about IDC happening or coming to fruition through a very close friend of mine. And so I was investigating that and looking into it and was interested in getting involved in some way, shape, or form. And unfortunately, there was an artistic director in place, and unfortunately, they got very sick, and they had
Mm,
to step away. And I was hoping to come in a different guise. I wasn't sure how I was going to be involved,
mhm,
but I came in a different. I was going to come in a different guise, but the artistic director that was in place ended up getting very sick, and things had been kind of developing with the IDC with the very fantastic Yvonne Coughlan and everybody at Dance Cork, Firk and Crane and UCC were involved, and Susha Arts with Co Foundation, Now Horizons, and the Community Foundation. So there was a lot of work done before I ever came on board.
mhm,
But I spoke to Yvonne Coughlan and I spoke to Laurie as well. And Yvonne, the whole project had gone kind of on a little bit of a hiatus from the January to July. And Yvonne asked me, would I come in as the artistic director after some conversations, very short conversations, but that I was just wanting to be involved in some way, shape, or form. And I obviously said something that sparked some interest in her about me coming in as the artistic director. And so she asked me, would I come in that role, which would have been July of 2022. So I had 8 weeks
Mm.
to pull a whole project together and a whole course, together. And of course, it was going to be very, very practice based as well, with
Mhm.
academia as well supporting it, and two kind of things work in tandem. And if you probably you will remember this, but we had a pilot, uh,
Mhm.
and I brought on all the different facilitators, the great minds that I could gather around inclusive practice in Ireland, and there was lots of really great people. And
Mhm.
all that was written at the time was there was two module descriptors written by the very fabulous Yvonne from UCC, from the theatre department. And so then they kind of left me to it, and I went off and developed weekend workshops with different facilitators and bringing in their own special flavor of things. And,
Mhm.
and that's how it was born. And so I came in on the 18th of July, and we had our first cohort on the 18th of September.
Mm.
And it was
Yep.
outstanding out
Yep.
from the get-go.
And still going strong as well. And now potentially a new partner, a new academic partner. Is that right?
Yeah, very exciting. UCC stepped away for a couple of different reasons, and they're still a great supporter of us,
Mm.
still to this day. And now we have joined up with UL in Limerick with the very lovely Jenny Roach, and with Grant, and with Orla. And yeah, I'm so excited about this partnership, because I think it feels like the right fit,
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
there hasn't been enough support around inclusive dance practice from college point of view, and
Mhm.
from an academia point of view. So it's lovely now to have that connection and development of conversation around those.
Mm.
They've been fantastic.
It is fantastic. I mean, and it makes a lot of sense just considering that they've had the MA program in running for a very long time, the PhD program as well, and even the undergrad program, which came later than the other ones, that's been running for a good while too. So they're very well established in terms of their track record and the people who are teaching on the course and the whole way that it's set up, and also, as you know, the facility there
Yeah.
at the World Music and Dance Center is just incredible. Like those studios are just unbelievable. I hope all of you sometime get to dance in those studios. They're so gorgeous.
And so then quite recently, then we ran a day there
Hmm.
in the last 2 weeks, um, for kind of an introduction to inclusive dance practice from a UL point of view, and some incredible guest speakers in the afternoon. Um, and then we ran a workshop in the morning time, yourself and myself. So it was great, and the feedback was amazing. And I think that's the thing that I love most about IDC and about inclusive practice, that when you take away all the noise and all the chatter and everything, and you just get a bunch of bodies with lovely souls in a room, in a workshop together, every difference and every barrier that people put up, not only on themselves but on each other, goes
Hmm.
out the window. And I think it's the most incredible gift, not only that I get as the artistic director or other facilitators who are in the room, but also the students. Everybody wins. Everybody
Hmm.
wins. And you've experienced that yourself hundreds of
Definitely, definitely, many times, luckily. So now we're coming up to your most recently,
yeah.
besides running the course, you are stepping back into your own work again and connecting back up with being a performer, with being the creative side, I suppose. Of course, the course has a lot of creative side as well, but this is really like what you're starting to work on, your solo. Um, is something new, and I very happily have been a part of that process. First of all, we've
You're being very bashful about that now.
Well, it was I'm really delighted that you asked me to work with you. Why did you ask me anyway to be a collaborator with you? I don't think you ever told me. You don't have to
I'm
compliment
certain
me.
I
You can
must have
just
told
like
you because I asked you. Well, yeah, I had a real fear about going back into my own work. You know, had become a little bit of a bit of a wall, you know, for me
Yeah.
about minding my body and minding my mind, and did I still want to be a performer, and was I still a performer in my own right, and a dancer in my own right? And then, you know, I wanted to investigate about the accident, and it's about grief and loss, the pieces, but it's actually quite playful. I mean, we've done an awful lot of playful things with it. I mean, we've been working on it for like a year and a half at this point, easily.
hmm Yeah,
um
we've had some great support as well through Dance Ireland in particular. Well, Dance Cork Crane for sure, but
yeah,
Dance Ireland gave us a Launchpad award, and then we did a residency not this past summer, but the summer before, up in the Dance Ireland studios in Dublin for a week, and a showing at the end of it, which was really brilliant. And we're about to start into a residency at Dance Cork Crane
yeah,
in next
and
week.
next week, next week.
In fact.
um and so we're very lucky, and you know, Dance Cork Glen has always been incredibly supportive of any
hmm
inclusive practice work,
Yeah.
as is Dance Ireland as well. You know, they're outstanding. So the piece is about grief, and it's about loss, because my beautiful mum passed away 2 years ago in the middle of first year of the IDC program. And so I'm very glad that she got to see the work that I was doing then, and that I was involved in dance, and that I was teaching, and I was in academia in UCC, and doing all of that kind of thing. And so the piece is about grief and loss,
hmm
ultimately. And I suppose, to answer your question, why did I ask you?
hmm
How could I not? How could I not? I needed to be working with somebody, A, that I really trusted, and B, that I knew that they could hold space, you know, because it's challenging work. It's they're challenging subject matters. Um, but we found the light in the shade, you know, thus far we've had some great laughs, you know,
hmm
and but we've also done a lot of really lovely, beautiful, heavy work too, and
hmm
found some lovely little nuggets. So you were the only person in my mind to ask. There was.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great process. One of the things that I have loved so far is just discovering, again, you have all these talents. So you're also a really great singer, Rona. I don't think people know this about you. And at the drop of a hat, you can start singing all kinds of different tunes, or making up tunes, which we have, or we sort of fell into that practice as part of creating this solo. And also you got back into writing, and I think that's a really there's something very exciting there for me working with you as your collaborator. I think it's really exciting that you're getting back into writing, because I don't think you've been there for a while. Yeah.
Oh, it's true. It's true. And yeah, thank you. I,
Mm,
I love that. And I think I had a real resistance to writing
mm,
for quite a long time, you know. So yeah, and I really, once I start writing and I get going, I really get going. Singing, again, came out of the womb singing, you know. I can break into song at any moment, as many people who are here could tell you, you know. God bless them. So we have made singing part of the piece.
part of the process. Yeah.
Yeah,
So far. Yeah. Yeah.
somewhat. You know, whether it stays there or not. But there's some very it's some very juicy stuff that we're doing. Um, so I'm really enjoying the process. I'm really enjoying the process. And of course, then it's different now because I have had some health issues. So when we go back into the studio again next week, um, it's about how we work that and tweak that to suit where my body's at right now. I think that's probably one of the greatest lessons I've gotten is that I have to have an appreciation for and a love and a respect for where my body's at now, not where my body was at 15 years ago, 5 years ago, 20 years ago,
Mm.
where it's at now and the beautiful things it can do right now. And I think that's probably one of the best things that I've gotten from our work together. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
That's great. Yeah.
yeah, 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 yeah. So
Lovely.
it will be what it will be. Of course, our first week is next week of our residency, and then
Mm-hmm.
we've got our second week in October, and we have a showing on the 3rd of October,
Mm-hmm.
which is
Mm-hmm.
Friday. So that will be kind of interesting to see what kind of response we get. Got a
Mm.
beautiful response last year, which is really nice. Really nice.
Yeah, very positive. Yeah, it was really great. And this time around, I'm really delighted that you have a new dance chair.
I
And
do.
I think that that's going to be a game changer because you didn't like the chair you had the last time we were working together.
It was my
Yeah,
own.
it was time for a new
Yeah.
dance chair, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and I've always had dance chairs. I've learned the
Mm,
hard way that when I just use my own and it gets damaged, I pay a very heavy price.
mm,
And so I always have a dance chair now, and anybody who's a professional, who's a dancer with a disability in the area, always has a dance chair and their
mm,
everyday return, probably other bits of apparatus as well. So yeah, I'm excited about playing in the dance chair too. Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It was great. Well, I think now that we're all up to present and even going into future work, we could probably open it up to questions if people had some questions for Rhona.